Dog Works Radio is sponsored by Alaska Dog Works. Check out their website at alaskadogworks.com.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Robert Forto from Dog Works Radio, and today you're listening to the Sibe Vibe with our host Dorothy Wills-Raftery, and this is part 2 of her series on lost dogs. Let's pick it up here.
From two beautifully scenic and historic locations, the Hudson Valley, New York, and Willow, Alaska, this is the Sibe Vibe, brought to you by Dog Works Radio. Your hosts are author, journalist, and photographer, the Five Sibes mom, Dorothy Wills-Raftery, and Dog Works Radio executive producer, canine behaviorist, trainer, and lead musher of Team Aneke, Robert Forto. The Sibe Vibe is all about the magnificent breed of the Siberian Husky. From training to grooming, and for those who show and breed, from parenting to playing and rescuing Huskies in need, whether mushing over snow-covered trails or lounging on tropical shores, even for Hollywood Sibes on the big silver screen, and so very much more. If it's about a Siberian Husky, we'll chat about it here.
Hi, everybody. This is Dorothy Wills-Raftery, also known as the Five Sibes mom, and I'm calling in from the beautiful, scenic Hudson Valley, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to my show, the Sibe Vibe on Dog Works Radio. And today is the second part of our two-part special series, Help Me, I'm Lost, and we are talking important tips and strategies if your dog goes missing, is stolen, or if you find a lost dog. If you missed our first part of this show, please check it out. It's a September the Sibe Vibe episode at dogworksradio.com and on iTunes. Today's expert guests are Kathy Poblaski and Barb McDonald. And to recap, Kathy is the director and co-founder of Lost Dogs of Wisconsin, an all-volunteer 501c3 organization committed to reuniting owners with their lost dogs. And she is also the co-founder of Lost Dogs of America, an umbrella organization that is helping other lost dogs state Facebook pages get off the ground, and currently they have 35 states that are participating. And in 2016 alone, Lost Dogs of America helped reunite over 27,000 dogs with their families. All of the services provided by Lost Dogs of Wisconsin and Lost Dogs of America are free to the public. Our other guest is Barb McDonald, and she's a Husky owner for 40 years, Husky rescue adopter, and a volunteer at Lost Dogs of Wisconsin. And she's also one of the admins to the Lost Found Husky Dogs community page on Facebook. And again, the message of Lost Dogs of America is true. Not all stray dogs are homeless. Welcome back, Kathy and Barbara, to the Sibe Vibe.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Now we covered a lot of information in our last part 1 of the series, and I know we have a lot more to cover here too. So I'm going to kind of jump right in with sometimes stray dogs will be scared. We know that we talked about fireworks in the last episode. They could be sick, possibly aggressive, and some are runners like Siberian Huskies. So when they're approached, we talked about how they could run away. When someone spots a stray dog, what are some of the strategies to best help the dog and to get it to safety?
Well, Barb here, I want you to remember to think lost, not stray. This could be, very well could be, someone's beloved pet. And also think safety. If the dog is acting aggressive, you don't want to corner the dog. You want the dog to come to you. In any case, you want the dog to come to you. Lost dogs act a little differently. They become semi-feral. They don't trust humans. So what you're going to want to do is use as much non-threatening body language as possible. Don't look straight on at the dog. Never make eye contact down or lay down. And just try to coax the dog quietly to you. If you have food, you can toss some, but don't throw it at the dog and scare him away. Just a little soft underhand toss. And if you don't have any food, just pretend you're eating food and make the noises. It's nummy, but stop. You're going to look silly, but it's okay because the dog's safety really is what we want to be most concerned with. And you really do need to be patient.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about that, because I wanted to ask you about, like, this can take time. It might not be, a 5-minute thing. So sometimes folks may have to wait, right?
Right, and things might happen as you're trying to coax this dog to you, and it might jump from a sound or something and run away. But if it's acting at all interested in you, the chances are really good that that dog will eventually come to you. If a dog is so scared, it usually runs away right away. But if you're sitting down and just being quiet, as non-threatening as possible, the dog will eventually come to you. Food always helps. It's always good to have some food on you, but you improvise as best as you can.
Now, what are feeding stations, and how important is this to do?
Okay, this is Kathy, and so we really like using feeding stations at Lost Dogs in Wisconsin because what we have found is that once you have allowed a dog to settle in an area and you are giving him a reliable source of food, you have a much better chance of successfully capturing that dog. So when dogs are in what we call survival or feral mode, they need three things. They need food and a source of food and water. They need some hiding places or shelter in inclement weather, and they need to avoid humans or predators, and basically humans are the what they're trying to avoid. So if you provide them with those three things, they will start. If you just allow them to have their hiding places, and if you don't approach them, don't chase them, don't call after them, and you feed them regularly, they will start to come out of survival mode and start to return to domestication. And so pretty soon, once you start a feeding station, if you feed that dog regularly by the same person at the same time in the same place every day, they may not be approaching you at first, but often within a few days or a few weeks, that dog will be laying somewhere close by, maybe still hidden, but waiting for you to put that food down. So you don't make any eye contact, just put the food down and leave, and let the dog come out and eat. And slowly, you're going to gain the trust of that dog. And then you can really put a good plan in place to catch the dog, whether it be a humane trap or perhaps just finally just being able to sit on the ground and the dog will approach you.
Now, once someone has rescued a lost dog, what should they do next?
Well, you want to check for tags. Check on the collar to see if anybody's written the number on the collar and report it to the police immediately. Oftentimes I've found mini huskies. They seem to gravitate towards one another. And I call the police, and lo and behold, somebody has either just reported them missing, or within a few hours I get a call that someone maybe came home and found their husky was missing. So that's really important to talk to the police and your local stray holding facility. After you do that, and if you're not getting anything, you take it to the vet to check for a microchip. Lots of dogs are chipped nowadays, but we have no way of knowing that if they've lost their collar while they were lost. Sometimes dogs take off right after a bath, or the owners don't leave the collars on for fear of it getting caught on something when they're playing with their other dog. Mm-hmm. And also put up a sign where you found the dog. People will be out driving around looking for the dog, and that's another great way. And if you found the dog at your house, put it right up in front of your house. You also want to... yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask about the flyers, because, again, in our last episode, we spoke about the free service, which is the flyers, where there are templates for lost dogs. Can someone who found a dog also create a flyer and have it sent out to the various pages?
Absolutely.
Yep, same thing. Exactly the same. Yeah, absolutely the same system. You fill out a found dog report and attach a good picture, some contact information, and it will be distributed the same way as a lost dog flyer would be.
Excellent. Now, what about contacting rescues and shelters? I have seen, so many as I'm sure we all have, missing Siberian Huskies, and then, you see a gazillion more of the lost dogs or quote strays wind up in shelters and rescues. And I wonder if there's an informational disconnect there, so that the missing dog info is not actually reaching rescues and shelters. It seems like an impossible feat to get this information out to all of them. What are your thoughts on this and the importance of establishing a relationship with shelters and rescues? And since dogs, especially Huskies, can travel great distances, as we've mentioned before, or be taken out of the area, how wide of a net does one cast to reach these organizations in effort to hopefully match a missing dog with a found dog?
That's a great question, and that's something that we work and struggle with every day, because I really truly believe that some of these dogs, we're not going far enough. We're not looking far enough. When we profile the dog when it first goes missing, it fits into one of two categories. Either it's an elusive, shy dog, again, perhaps scared by fireworks or a loud noise, or it's what I like to call a happy wanderer, which is an opportunistic dog that was simply out having a good time and it wandered further than it should have. And those dogs tend to go very far, especially if they're a larger breed dog, and fairly friendly, just having a good time. And I really truly believe that a lot of times the owners and ourselves we're not spreading the word far enough on some of those dogs, and it could be going, perhaps 60 or more miles easily, I believe. And I know that sounds like a really far distance, but when you really think about it, it's really not that far. I mean, I walk with my two little dogs every day for 4 miles, and it takes me about an hour. And, so that's really not a very far distance for a large dog to travel. So that's why we really now believe in using the centralized database, because then it allows people to search whole country, and actually internationally, because Canada participates as well. So when they're looking for their dog, they can cast a really, really wide net and look at the found listings, throughout North America.
That's excellent. Now, for
our
listeners,
the other thing we've done.
Go ahead, sorry.
This is Barb. We have created relationships with the shelters, and we've encouraged them to post pictures of all the found dogs that they have. They're not all on board with the help system yet, but an awful lot more of them are now posting their found dogs online.
Yeah.
That actually seems like a fantastic way, for them to do it. How can we help get them to participate in getting them on the help database, to go that extra step and put them on there?
Well, there's a couple of things. So first of all, we would like, and this is kind of a behind-the-scenes sort of project that we're working on. We understand that shelter staff are very busy, and they're already intaking that animal into their shelter software system. So we would love it if the shelter software system that they are using would communicate with Helping Lost Pets, behind the scenes, however the magic happens, but seamlessly, so that they wouldn't have to double enter that data. Now, some of the shelter software systems are on board with that and are doing it. Some are not. So we're constantly trying to encourage the ones that aren't to get on board, so that the shelters don't have to do double work.
Right.
But then, of course, even if they aren't on board, we just always encourage that an employee or a volunteer just snap a picture of every stray dog that's impounded at a shelter and get it onto a Facebook page, so that it's there for people to look at and share. And so many animals are reunited with their owners just because of Facebook, because they'll say, even if the owner doesn't happen to see the dog, their neighbor may say, "Oh, I know whose dog that is. It's so and so's dog. I think he's missing it," or I better call him. Or, so it has so many useful advantages.
And just to elaborate on a point for a second, you spoke about, we know shelters and rescues are busy and they rely a lot on volunteers. So if any of our listeners are ever thinking about a way that they could help out, this would be a really wonderful way for them to go in and say, hey, can I help you, take pictures or post any of the dogs that you found.
Right.
So that's another way that I think that they could help. Now,
and it's so easy now. So, with a cell phone. I mean, it's so much easier than it was even when we started 7 years ago, when most people didn't have a camera on their cell phone. Yeah.
And if we get these shelters to have a higher return to owner rate, we have less stray dogs or lost homeless dogs that need to find homes. So that's actually one of the real easy ways for a shelter to reduce their numbers of dogs that need homes.
Absolutely. And it's a win-win for the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Better to go home when you've already got a home than to go somewhere strange.
Yeah.
Now, for folks who are listening, if you're just tuning in, this is the Sibe Vibe on DogWorks Radio, and we're talking about Help Me I'm Lost, What to Do If You've Lost or Found a Dog with Kathy Poblowski, director and co-founder of Lost Dogs of Wisconsin and co-founder of Lost Dogs of America, and Barb McDonald, volunteer with the Lost Dogs of Wisconsin and admin for the Lost Found Husky Dogs page on Facebook. Please be sure to check out all the websites, and that's lostdogsofamerica.org, lostdogsofwisconsin.org, the Helping Lost Pets free registry, and that's at helpinglostpets.com. And also please like their Facebook pages as well. As I said, the Lost Found Husky Dogs Facebook page, and that's Lost/Found Husky Dogs. There's also an additional resource for Siberian Husky breeds, and that's the National Siberian Husky Lost and Found Registry through the Siberian Husky Rescue of Florida, and that's at cyberrescue.com. That's SIBERRESCUE. To our listeners, if you could please visit the DogWorks Radio over on iTunes, and the logo is a cartoon of Robert and his 3 dogs. And if you could subscribe to the channel and it would be greatly appreciated by all of us here with shows on DogWorks Radio, and would help us to continue to bring shows such as the Sibe Vibe to more dog-loving people. Please check out all of today's links on dogworksradio.com under the Sibe Vibe, and also over on my new website at 5sibes.com. Now, in September's part 1 of this series, we talked about the important role social media plays in sharing lost and found pets, and we talked a little bit about it again, about how this is actually one of the best resources today. What about the use of hashtags? Are there specific ones folks should use? For example, hashtag lost dog, hashtag lost husky, hashtag found husky, and so on?
So we use hashtags on our Facebook page and on our listings because our Facebook page is linked to our Twitter account seamlessly. So every time we post a lost or found dog on Lost Dogs of Wisconsin, it goes out to our Twitter account too. And what I have found is that hashtags on Facebook are not that useful, and they just haven't seemed to have mastered it yet, the whole concept of it. But on Twitter, they're essential. So, if we put out a lost dog on Twitter and it's got the hashtag of the town and the county on it, we often will even have police departments or the city office or whatever retweeting that tweet because they can search for tweets that are relevant to their community. So we find them incredibly useful on Twitter, not so much on Facebook. I know a lot of people do it on Instagram. I'm not a huge Instagram user, so I don't want to speak to that. But I know it looks really cool when you put a ton of hashtags on things, but I'm just not sure that on Facebook that they're that useful yet.
Okay, and with you being connected to Twitter, which is the same as what I am with 5 Sibes, so when you're doing, say, hashtag lost dog or lost husky, it's also good to maybe put in hashtag Hudson Valley, and
absolutely.
That's what you're saying, so that way it's picked up in your community as well. Excellent point. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Now, some folks may consider hiring a dog tracking service. Over on lostdogsofwisconsin.org, there is an article, 10 Things You Need to Know Before Hiring a Tracking Dog Service, that I do encourage everyone to go and read. But, ladies, can you give us the gist of why a tracking service is not always a good idea?
Well, this is Kathy. So, we have a lot of people that think that this is going to be a magic pill. They've lost their dog, and maybe the dog's been missing for more than for a couple of days, and they're going to hire a service, and they will come and find their dog. And so that's why I actually wrote that article, was because I wanted to kind of go through it step by step about what the realities of it were. So first of all, it's finding somebody that's actually reputable, which can be tricky because there are a lot of people that have hung their shingle out as having a tracking dog and really are not reputable and may even cause first of all, it may cost you a lot of money, and also may cause your dog to flee even further because, of course, your lost dog is probably going to be able to run a lot faster than the tracking dog and their handler. So, there's just a lot of things to consider. Tracking dogs have a very good success rate of finding lost cats because cats tend to hide when they're lost, and they will often stay hidden. Whereas dogs, once they feel like they're being pursued, they will flee. And, the last thing in the world you would want to happen is have your lost dog chased, flee the area and then get hit by a car because he's, making really poor decisions because he's in a state of panic.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk IDs and microchips. We all know how vital they are, and I want to talk about how they help keeping the chip subscription active and keeping the info updated on both the agency and at the vet's office. And in case someone somewhere does not have these, can you talk about why they are so important to the safety of the dog?
Barb, do you want to answer that one?
Well, a microchip is extremely important because when a dog is lost, tags can get pulled off when they're going through brush. The whole collar can go off. So you really need a microchip that can't go anywhere. You also really need somebody that, when they scan a found dog, does a nice slow job of scanning for the chip. It's so easy to miss a chip.
Now, you mentioned over on Lost Dog's website, speaking of going slow on the chip and missing it, that another important factor is when they're scanning it, that the dog shouldn't be standing on a metal table, such as the exam table in a lot of vets' offices. Why is this not a good practice?
Because the metal from the exam table can actually interfere with the scanning process. So, and also any sort of metal. So not only the, most vet tables are metal because it's convenient for them to clean. And so often, you see that happen, that the vet the vet system puts the dog up on the metal table and then scans for a microchip. But it can interfere with a microchip, as can scanning too close to a computer, scanning too close to a metal door frame, or scanning the dog while he's wearing some sort of metal collar or harness as well. So if you're not finding the microchip quickly, then get the dog away from anything metal. Take anything metal off of the dog, and go again, and go very, very slowly, because the universal scanners that are out on the market today, they have to circulate through several different frequencies. So you have to scan very slowly over the entire body of the dog, and then you have the best chance of finding the microchip. And a lot of animals are microchipped now, so I always think that the shelter staff or the vet staff should scan with the intent that they've got to find, there is a chip in that animal and they just have to find it, as opposed to, well, let's just see if the animal has a chip, right?
Excellent point.
Yeah.
Now, I know we all say never give up hope. What about dogs who have been missing for a long period of time? I know sometimes there are sightings, sometimes there'll be dry periods where there aren't, and many times, they become what you call cold cases. What can a person do to reactivate or get the interest back in searching for their dog that has been missing for quite a while?
That's a good question, and we actually have an article on our website called Starting the Search for Your Long Lost Dog. But I was a big fan of the TV show Cold Case, where the detectives, had to solve a case that was like really, really old. And the thing I noticed about that is that those detectives, they went back and they started as if it was the day that the person went missing, and they re-interviewed the people. And I think that's what we have to encourage owners to do, that they have to step back and go back to the last possible or the last credible lead or sighting that they had on their dog and start again from there. Reflyer that area. And, at that sort of situation, we definitely recommend hand-delivering those flyers door to door, knocking on doors, talking to people, seeing if you can jog something in their memory. Did they see something that day, or do they remember something, or did they see, somebody? Was there anything that they can remember? Did they see the dog hanging around, or, often, there's a lot of people that aren't on Facebook. So those people may have seen your dog and never ever knew that it was missing because, they aren't on Facebook. And so the dog maybe was hanging around their yard for a couple of days and they shooed it away and never thought nothing of it. Just, did what so many people do, was just assumed it was a stray and they shoot it off and sent it on its way. But if you go and talk to those people and jog their memory, they might have something that will help you.
Which shows the importance of flyers in your neighborhood.
We're on the same wavelength, Barb. I was just actually thinking of that. Because I was just going to say that, we don't often think that not everybody has access to social media or not everybody is, on Facebook. So if you could just talk on that for a few minutes, that'd be excellent.
Sure. We want you to put up flyers within a mile the first day. You want to put up brightly colored signs at intersections, main street intersections. You can put the flyers that you make on help. If you put those in a page protector that you can get very cheaply at the store and post them pretty much every block in your immediate neighborhood. You want everybody to see those signs, and you want them to see them over and over again in case they don't see your dog on day 1, but on day 4 they see your dog. And the brightly colored signs you can kind of use as a frame on your lost dog flyer. You want your phone number to be very large, so as people are driving by they can see it. And to go along with your sign, put an ad on Craigslist. If they're not on social media, they do think of Craigslist. And if they're not on an internet at all, you also want your dog in the local newspaper. And sometimes, depending upon how big of a town you're in, the local radio.
Excellent tips. And some of these flyers, maybe some of the places like local vet offices or maybe the pet stores for where they carry the food and treats in case somebody goes in there to get the dog some food.
Yes.
Wherever dog people congregate. The dog park, too.
Yeah.
Dog parks, yes, absolutely. Great information. Now,
trails, if there's trails near you.
Oh, rail trails, absolutely. So all the different places that you would go on with your dog would be great places to then put something up. Now, we all love happy endings, and with more than 27,000 lost dogs reunited through Lost Dogs of America with their families in just 2016 alone, that offers so much happiness and hope to people. Now, is there an album or an update area where folks can go to visit just to kind of see how these dogs have been reunited with their loved ones so that they never give up hope?
That's a great question. So we have different methods that we do that. We love the reunited stories because not only do they give people hope, but they also give people tips and ideas of what maybe happened to their dog, right? So they'll see something and they go, that dog was reunited because those people, posted a sign at the local dog park, so I need to go and do that. And so the more information that we can get from the reunion stories, the better. And we do put those in an album on Lost Dogs of Wisconsin. Every state handles it a little differently. But at Lost Dogs of Wisconsin, we have a reunited album that you can go to and scroll through, and you can read the stories. And so, Barb, maybe you can explain what you do on the Husky page?
Well, we do update them if they're reunited. And we also have tips for getting the word out. And we have the link to the help page so they can file their lost dog and then update it when their dog is found.
Yeah. So when they go to update with Helping Lost Pets, when they found their dog, there's a little survey there that asks them how. And not everybody fills it out, but some people might just want to say, okay, my dog was home after, so many hours, and that's all they do. But some people will, take quite a bit of time and put us out a nice little report. So anybody that's following that dog can then click on that link and see that the dog was back home and read what the owner wrote. So very, very
That's
helpful.
Wonderful. That's really helpful, I'm sure, and that's really great. So I hope everybody does visit it. And again, I just want to remind folks, please visit lostdogsofamerica.org, lostdogsofwisconsin.org, and the Helping Lost Pets, which is the HELP acronym that you're hearing the ladies talk about. That's at helpinglostpets.com. Please check out all of their Facebook pages as well as the Lost/Found Husky Dogs Facebook page. Ladies, this concludes the Sibe Vibe's very special two-part series, Help Me I'm Lost, What to Do If You've Lost or Found a Dog. And Kathy and Barb, thank you both so very much for being on the show and sharing all this valuable information with us and for pet families everywhere.
Thank you so much for having us, Dorothy.
Thank you for having us and helping us spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to all our listeners, and I hope you all check out the websites. And if you find a dog or lost a dog, please check out these valuable resources that they've given us today. And may all our dogs stay healthy and at home. Take care, everybody. See you the next time on the Sibe Vibe.
Did you know that Alaska Dog Works trains service dogs for those in need throughout North America? Each and every service dog that is trained through the Lead Dog Service Dog Program and Michelle Forto and her team has an individual training plan. We train for autistic, mobility, psychiatric, and PTSD for our soldiers for service work. If you know of someone that may need a service dog, please take a moment and check out Alaska Dog Works on social media and at alaskadogworks.com.
If you like our podcast, there are a few things you can do. You can take a couple of minutes and go to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also check out all of our DogWorks Radio sponsors and promotions in our show notes. Another thing you can do is go over to Facebook, like our Facebook page, and one last thing, please tell all of your friends by spreading the word about DogWorks Radio. Thank you so much for listening to us. We really appreciate you.
DogWorks Radio is produced by Robert Forto. Logo art by Angry Squirrel Studios. DogWorks Radio is produced in conjunction with KVRF 89.7 in Palmer, Alaska.
For dog training advice, you can contact Alaska Dog Works at 907-841-1686 or visit their website at alaskadogworks.com. If you have a show idea or would like to be a guest, please contact us by sending an email to live@dogworksradio.com.